So in this class, we are going to consider multiples and factors. This is a continuation still on our whole numbers. Remember, you had this part before in your previous grade, which is your grade 7. You dealt with multiples and what? Factors. So I'm not going to waste your time. Starting with factors, you understand that factors are numbers that can divide exactly into a number. All right? Are numbers are numbers that can divide exactly. This is the major part here. Exactly. Meaning to say there is no remainder there. Exactly into the number or into the given number. I'm going to have it another way. So divide exactly. So we can put it this way. We can say factors, all right? Factors of a natural number, which is the best one that I always prefer. Factors of a natural number are any natural numbers. Any natural any natural numbers which divide into the number into the number. So they divide into the number exactly, meaning to say without any remainder. Without any remainder. Without any remainder. So that is how you can define factors to say factors of a natural number are any natural numbers. Remember, natural numbers are counting numbers 1, 2, 3, and so on. So any natural numbers which divide into the number that you have here, the natural number that you had, without any remainder, without any remainder. So when you consider this, factors always, when you consider factors, they work hand in hand, like in pairs. They are always in pairs. When you consider factors, all right, they are always in what? In pairs. So they are always given in pairs. All right, I'm going to explain this one, what exactly I'm trying to say. Okay, let's consider a number which is 6. In order for you to get or to have all factors of 6, remember we said factors of a natural number, 6 is a natural number, are any natural numbers. So just try, if you do not understand, just use your calculator. 1, these are natural numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so on. So you just take up to that 6, all right? Then this is what you do. You take the number, your number is what? Is 6. Then you must divide 6 over, you put this fraction here, 6 over this, that's your fraction, or you can put this division, all right? So I'm going to put the fraction 6 over, we start with a 1. Let's start with this 1, all right? 6 over 1 is what? 6. Meaning to say 1 is a factor because we divided The natural number 6 divided by 1, we are obtaining what? A 6. No remainder. This is the whole number that you're getting. So we have 1 as a factor. So meaning to say 1 times 6, if you multiply this, 1 times that 6, you are going to obtain the 6 here. It is going to give us this 6. 1 times 6 is equal to 6. So meaning to say it's a pair, 1 and 6, 1 and 6. 1 is a factor, 6 is also a factor. That is what it means there. So once you say 1 is a factor, once you say 1 is a factor, it means 6 is also a factor. So we have got 1 and 6. These two, they go hand in hand. Let's move on to 2. Let's try 2. 6, this is our number. Remember, we need factors of what? Factors of 6. Factors of 6. So let's try 6 divided by what? By 2. Now we move on to 2. This is going to give us a 3. 3 is a whole number, means we do not have a remainder there. So thus 2 is a factor. And the answer is also a factor. So 2 times 3 is going to give us what? 6. 2 times 3 is equal to 6. So as we have, they go hand in hand as pairs. So 2 and what? And 3. As 2 is a factor, 3 is also a factor. So we also have 2 and a 3. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 6. These are factors of 6. If you try the other one, 3, we already referred to 3. So if you use this one, 6 over 3, all right, it is just going to give you what? A 2. So already 2 and what? 2 and 3. We move on to 5, 6 over what? Over 5. This one gives us what? A fraction, a decimal. It is not a factor. We are not getting an exact value. So 5 is not a factor. 5 is not a factor. All right. So meaning to say, if you move on to 6, to 6, the last one, 6 over 6. 6 over 6 is going to give us a 1. So if we check, we already have 6 and what? 6 and 1. We already have these two, 6 and what? 6 and 1. So that is how you can cross-check all the factors of the given number. So these are the factors of what? 6. As I said, they are in pairs always. 1 times 6 gives us a 6. 2 times 3 gives us a 6. All right. So this is how you can have factors for any as long you are dealing with factors, guys. Anyone. So on these factors, all right, let's try another one. 18. 18 factors of what? Factors of 18. So just try natural numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so on. All right. So if you start with 1, 18 over 1 is going to give us what? 18. So meaning to say, as we have 1, we also have 18 as factors. Remember, in what? In pairs. So there is 1, and what? And 18. 1 and 18. So you move on to 2. Let's try 2. 18 over what? Over 2. This is going to give us a 9. So meaning to say 2 and what? 2 and 9 are factors of 18. So that's a 2 and a 9. All right, let's move on to 3. 3, we do the same. 18 over what? Over 3. So this is going to give us a 6. So meaning to say, as 3 is a factor, 6 is also a factor. So that's 3 and what? 3 and 6. All right. Let's hope we're not going to have 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are not factors. So if we check, it was going to be a repetition. So these are the factors that we have. All the factors of what? Of 18. So if you check the pair, 1 times 18 that is 18. 2 times 9, that is 18. 3 times 6, that is 18. So they are in pairs in that manner. All right. So that is the condition. All right. On these factors, we also have what we refer to as composite numbers. Composite numbers are those numbers that have more that has more than two different factors. As we can see, this number 18, there are more than two different factors. If you check the number that we had before, 6, more than two different factors. So those are referred to as what? Composite numbers. Composite numbers are natural numbers with more than two different factors. All right, so let me just write it here. Composite numbers. All right, so composite numbers are also just important for you to understand. So these are natural numbers with more than two different factors. More than two different factors. So we cannot say 2 is a composite because we only have factors of 2. It's 1 and 2. But here we are saying more than 2. Here is just two factors, 1 and 2. So we cannot say that. 3, there is just 1 and 3. All right. 5 is just 1 and 5, 2. So these numbers where it is just 1 and 2, they have their own properties, which is referred as to prime numbers. So the opposite is the composite now. So the opposite now, so if we cannot have a 2, if we cannot have a 3, if we cannot have a 5, meaning to say we need a 4 in between, there is a 4. So for an example of these composite numbers, we can say a 4, a 6, all right, 4 factors of 4, there is 1, and a 4, there is a 2. All right, 2 and a 2. So you cannot write 2 and a 2, just write 2. So 1 times 4, that's a 4. 2 times a 2, it's a 4. So these are factors of 4, more than two different factors. 1 is a factor, this is a factor, this is 3 factors. So it's more than 2. It's a composite. 6, we cannot take 5 because there is 1 and 5, only 2 factors. This one is under prime. So we can simply say of those prime numbers, what you have as a prime number, 2 factors only. 2 factors. So more than, it means the number is not a prime number. That is what it simply means. So 7, we cannot take it because it's a prime number. 1 and 7 only. So we move on to 8. As long as it's not a prime number. 9, all right, we can take that one. 10, 11, we cannot take that one. 11 is a prime number, remember. So we move on to 12. 13 is a prime number. So we move on to 14. 15, 16, 17 is a prime number. So we move on to 18 and so on and so on. These are composite numbers. All right. They have more than two different factors. So they are opposed by what? By prime numbers now. Like I said, they are opposed by prime numbers. Prime numbers is only 1 and itself. 1 and itself. So meaning to say, if it is 2, it is 1 and 2. If it is 3, 1 and 3. If it is 5, 1 and 5, we do not have any other factors. So these are prime numbers. Composite, more than 2 factors. All these, they have more than 2 factors. If you consider 6, 1 is a factor, 2 is a factor, 3 is a factor, 6 more than 2. If you consider 8, 1 is a factor, 2 is a factor, 4 is a factor, 8 is a factor, more than 2. So those are referred to as what? Composite numbers. So that is it in terms of composite numbers. I referred to the factors. I referred to the factors and the composite numbers. So let us consider the multiples so that we can have some of the questions here. So factors, let us have multiples. So multiples, all right. I want to I want to explain this one where we have factors so that you can understand what is happening when I'm referring to a multiple. So I'm going to explain multiples on the other hand. All right. Multiples. Multiples are simply when a natural number is multiplied by any natural number. The answer is a multiple. Okay, let me write it down. You understand me very soon. When a natural number, just take any number of your choice, is multiplied by any natural number. By any natural number. We are saying the answer is a multiple. All right. The answer is a multiple. Take any natural number. For an example, 2. Meaning to say multiples of 2. Multiples of what? Of 2 are simply the products. The products of what? 2. You simply take the natural number, which is 2, multiply it to any natural number. Multiply it to 3, you are going to get a multiple. Multiply it to 4, you are going to get a multiple. Multiply it to 7, you are going to obtain a multiple. So how can you obtain all, or how can you list them in an order? You simply have to use the order of what? Natural numbers, counting numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so on. So this is what you do. You take these numbers, multiply them to 2 times 1. It is equal to what? To 2. 2 times, you move on, 2. It is going to give us what? A 4. You move on, 2 times what? The next is 3. The natural number. It is going to give us a 6. 2 times the following natural number is 4. And this is going to give us what? 8. And so on and so on and so on. 2 times what is following here is a 5. And this is going to give us what? A 10. So these are multiples of 2, the products that we are getting by multiplying to these natural numbers. So therefore we are saying multiples of what? Of 2 will be what? 2 followed by 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on and so on. These are what? Multiples of 2. So you just multiply starting from 1, 1, 2, and so on and so on and so on. Multiples of 2. You see the difference between factors. So in actual sense, if we take these numbers 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18, these numbers that we see, we say they are factors of what? We say they are factors of 18. Meaning to say 18 is a multiple of these numbers. 18 is a multiple of 2. 2, if you consider on multiples of 2, 18 is there, 3 is there, 6 is there, 9 is there, 18 is there. So this is the idea. Multiples of 2, just multiply by 1, 2, 3, and so on and so on and so on. So if I want multiples of any number, that is the easier way that I can simply use. Multiples of 10. 10 times 1 times 2 times 3, like that. 10 times 2, 10 times 3, and so on. You get corresponding what? Multiples. Just like that. So I want you as an individual to do as many questions as you can. All right, let us just have examples so that we can finish up. Let us just have some of the examples. I'm not going to be deep into that. We are going to have another one in the next class where we're going to refer to the HCF and the LCM. So if you understand the multiples, it's going to be easier. And if you understand factors, again, it's going to be easier for you to cater for that class. All right. So considering our questions, let's consider, I'm just going to combine everything. The first one, you might be asked to list factors of 16. So I want you to try this. All right. So after trying this, the answers that you must expect, remember I said factors is supposed to be what? In pairs. If you still remember factors, natural number supposed to be any natural numbers which divide into the given number. So without any remainder. So factors of 16, we simply have to divide. 16 divided by what? 16 divided by 1, which is 16. So 1 and 16. 1 and 16. We move on to 2. That's going to give us 8. So 2 and what? 2 and 8. 2 and 8. 3 cannot work. 4. 16 divided by 4, that's a 4. So 4 and 4. So it's just going to be 4. You not write 4 and 4. 5, 6, that one is a repetition. So these are the expected factors, all right, for 16. So if you have got this, your answer is correct. All right, another question. I want you to try first before you look into before you check the answers, guys. Try first, all right? Let's try this one. I want you to try this question. List 5 multiples of what? Of 12. List first 5 multiples of what? Of 12. Okay, so you try. Okay, you try. So remember, I said multiples are obtained when a natural number is multiplied by any natural number. So the first 5, you just consider the first numbers 1, 2, 3, and so on. So just multiply 12 times 1, the first number, right, which is 12. So that is a multiple. You move on to 2, 12 times 2, which is what? Which is 24. So that's a multiple. All right. 3, 12 times 3, which is what? 36. That's a multiple. You move on to 4. So that's 12 times 4, which is what? 48. That's a multiple. You move on to 5. So that's 12 times 5, which is what? 60. That's a multiple of what? Of 12. So remember, they say the first 5. First 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From the first 5 natural numbers, you just consider the first 5 natural numbers. Just like that. You're done. All right. I want you to try this one again. All right. Just to finish up, I want you to try factors of 32. List all factors of what? Of 32. Factors of what? 32. Okay. So I want you to try this one first. Factors of what? 32. Okay. So let's consider here. Factors, we said we must divide exactly without any remainder. So it's simply by division, and they are in what? In pairs. So simply divide from the natural numbers 1, 2, and so on. 32 divide by 1, that is a 32. So 1 and 32. Those are factors, 1 and 32. All right. You move on to another one. You move on to 2. 32 divided by 2, that's a 16. So 2 and what? 2 and 16. 3 is not going to work. Then 4 into 32, that is 8. That is 8 here. This one is going to work. So we have got 4 and what? 4 and 8. Yeah, those are the only ones that we have. So these are the factors of what? 32 that I want you to have as your answers. All right. So if you are having these answers, it means we are together. But if you failed to obtain these answers, please can you rewatch the video? If you do not understand, let us communicate in the comment section. All right, let us consider another example. All right, let us have this one as our last example. I want you to list multiples of 40 between 89 and 165. Multiples of 40 between 89 and 165. So can you try that one? Okay, with that being said, let us see what you obtained. Multiples, remember, you are multiplying to the natural numbers. So you're supposed to just do it this way. They are between 89 and what? 165. If you do not understand, then just find multiples of 40. 40 times 1 is what? Is 40. It is not in between this, so you know that this one is out. You move on. 40 times, you move on to what? To 2. 40 times 2 is what? Is 80. 80 is not found in between. Remember 89. So 80 is somewhere here. This is 81, 82, 89 here. So 80 is out of the interval. So this is out. 40 times 3, this is going to give us 120. 120 is in between 89 and 165. 120 is, we have that number as we are counting 89, 90, 91. 120 is somewhere there. We have it. So that is going to be one of the multiples that we have. So we have got 120. Let us move on. So this one, it is in the interval. 40 times what? Remember, multiples of 40. 40 times, we move on. It was 1, 2, 3. Now we move on to 4. 40 times 4 is 160. 160 is in between. It is there before 165. 160 is in this interval. So we can take that one, 160. All right. If we move on to 5, 40 times 5, all right, that was going to give us 200. And 200 is outside of the interval. Remember, from 89 to 165, 200 is outside, so you cannot take that one. So the only multiples, I mean, the multiples that you only have here is what? 120 and what? 160. These are the two multiples found in this range or in the interval from 89 to 165. There are only two. Others, they are outside of the given interval. Answer the question. Answer the question. The question here was to list multiples of 40 between these two numbers. All right. So this is it. Just revision. It's all about revision. Mathematics is all about revision. It is not a talent, it is a skill. And you can learn that skill. You can learn the way that I'm answering here. You can learn it and answer it in a better way than what I'm doing here. You can learn it in a better way. Mathematics is all about learning. All right. So do revise. So this is it on your factors and multiples. And do not forget composite numbers, those numbers that are natural numbers with more than two different factors. In other words, what opposes our prime numbers 1 and itself. So composite numbers now, it's more than two different factors. Okay, so this is it. Let us revise. We shall meet again in another class.